Record. Hello, good afternoon, good evening, good morning to whatever time of day it is that you are tuning into Cornwall Women's Fund and these podcasts to celebrate International Women's Day. I'm Tina Bessel, one of the founder members, and I am delighted to be joined by Nadia Mercer-Wright, who is the founder of Cornish Gems, a B Corp company, very into sustainability. Nadia, thank you so much for joining us. Please tell us a little bit about yourself.
You're very welcome. Thank you for inviting me along. Hi, yes. So I am really passionate about working with the community, especially with sort of really disadvantaged sections of the community. And I've going to be celebrating 20 years of being in business with Cornish Gems next year, which is a massive
Fun.
milestone. So so it makes me feel quite old. However, I've achieved quite a lot in those 20 years, and it's been an absolute roller coaster. So I am very passionate about giving back that wisdom of what I've learned along the way. And it hasn't actually been easy. I was thinking back along those years and thinking about when it was easy, and not a lot of times, to be fair. So yeah, you learn a lot. You learn a lot about yourself. You learn a lot about your community and the environment that you operate in. But I think it's really important to give other people the inspiration to be brave enough to do things their own way. And I'm very much a person that likes to do their own thing, their own way. I like to think of myself as a trailblazer and writing my own sort of rule book.
And it's tough, isn't it, when you're a female entrepreneur setting out? I know I feel much of the same pain. I was nodding vigorously when you talked about that. And it's such a well, congratulations, such a milestone, 20 years, because
Thank
it is
you.
tough to be in the business world as a
Yeah,
woman and run a
absolutely.
business.
It is
Yeah.
absolutely. And it was we set up the business. So myself and my business partner set it up, and we really wanted to do things. We identified a niche where we were basically just striving for excellence as a one-stop shop, and it was a very male dominated sector. Obviously, that the holiday letting down in Cornwall was dominated by a few big companies. So they were always sort of watching us to see what we did, and we tried to do things in our own way and not follow anyone else, which is always one of my super north stars, is to really carve out your own path, because nobody knows how to run your business or your business better than you do. And that's what I keep learning. I keep learning about how to trust yourself, because really you are that best person to be able to guide yourself through. And I think there's lots of things out there that make you doubt yourself, but you really do need to surround yourself with really good people who give you the encouragement just to be your own trailblazer, basically.
Thank you so much for explaining that. And it really sets the scene for International Women's Day for 2026 this year. Um, I'm interested, why come on board and join Cornwall Women's Fund in terms of supporting what that circular giving charity is trying to do?
Well, I think it's vital. I think we have to support each other, and I'm hugely passionate about collective action. There's not a lot of help coming down the line or support coming down the line. We have to support each other, and I do that any way I possibly can. And I'm really inspired by the Cornwall Women's Fund and how it supports businesses and women throughout all different stages of their lives, and progress. So I'm really interested in how we inspire the next generation to really set them up for success, because there's so much out there that doesn't do that, and I think we can use Cornwall as a platform and a beacon of good practice in terms of what that looks like. Because yes, it's tough. It's tough out there, and we feel it down here, even much more acutely than other places, I think.
I couldn't agree with you more. And I think that power of collaboration and bringing community together, as you mentioned early on, is one of the
Hmm.
ways that you can multiply um, just the force for good.
Yeah,
It's
absolutely.
amazing how that power can come together and create such
Absolutely.
a brilliant force for good. As I said, that's a real sort of military
Yeah.
phrase from my background, but
No, exactly. It's very B core, that force for good,
yeah,
isn't it? It's making
yeah,
sure that you're building strong communities because everything seems to be quite sort of splintered and not very cohesive right now. And I think if we can support anything that wants that is in being able to do things differently, but in a truly sort of independent way, then that's what we have to do. We have to club together. I think it's it's not just in business. I mean, business is a really great way to as a vehicle to help, but it's across all different walks of life and all different sectors that I'm trying to encourage people to create their own support networks and their own collectives of like-minded people who share the same values as you, because that is crucial in these challenging times, really.
absolutely. Now, the International Women's Day theme for 2026 is give to gain. And the mindset is to have that one of generosity and collaboration, give to gain. What does that mean to you?
So I don't ever give to get anything back in return. I don't think that's never really my motivation for helping or supporting. I really get a buzz out of seeing other people succeed. And I think, yes, we're in competition with each other in certain sectors, but that really shouldn't stop us working together, because ultimately we want everyone to succeed. And that's really one of my sort of mantras, really, is that you have the ability to work together stronger when you are more powerful, and you are much, much more stronger, and you have a much louder voice when you do work together. And we have the ability or the opportunity to amplify the amazing things that that Cornwall is doing, but also the Cornwall Women's Funds are doing, and there's so many other great things that are going on. It's really great to be able to, yeah, to really sort of see that in action, but not. I don't like to take no for an answer. I'm just trying to make sure that we can do things together without without an ego getting in the way. And that's really important to me.
And that's really interesting you say that because I've got a lovely phrase that I like to use, which is there's room for two bakeries in the village, and
Yeah, exactly.
and many villages have six pubs, and some have none. But
Yeah,
it is by that coming together that I like that idea of the collective voice, which is much more powerful than a lone wolf by themselves. So I think that's a
exactly. And
really
and
good
you
way of looking at it.
you know I've worked a lot recently with sort of higher level MPs and governments, and I've listened to lots of people who work in that world. And if we are going to change things, because I do want to change things, they need to change. Change for me is a constant. It's just one of those things that you just have to keep moving forward. If we can galvanize ourselves and have one laser beam focused voice in terms of achieving change, that will be far more effective, I think, than lots of different scattergun, which I feel just turns into white noise.
Absolutely, absolutely. And I think, going back to that point about never, giving in order to gain, it's weirdly that the thing that you gain is not an agenda. You're not doing it with an agenda. You're doing it because, as you say, you like to see people
Mm.
succeed. But
Hmm.
also, there's a lovely feeling of goodness, actually, that you have that ability to give without agenda and see people
Yeah,
succeed. And so that's what you gain from it. It's that seeing other people blossom, which I think is
exactly.
really,
Exactly.
paramount to the theme for 2026.
Yeah, great.
I really appreciate you taking the time to share those thoughts with us. If you had one message to share to anybody tuning in today about, whether it's the theme or just in general, how you get on and succeed in life, what would it be?
It would be that there's always a solution out there, and don't be afraid to ask for help
Mm,
or be humble, to be honest. There's a it's really important that you don't. I think we've been indoctrinized sometimes or institutionalized in business to be just out for personal own gain. And a lot of people still are very much in that zone. Whereas if we're going to be addressing the challenges, sorry, and changing things for the greater good, we have to work together. So don't let your ego get in the way of your own success, because that, have different measurements for success, not, and um, don't be hard on yourself as well. You can always reach out. That's what I love about Cornwall. There's always somebody there that you can reach out to and talk to and really just run things by. So yeah, don't be afraid of asking for that. It's not, I think it's help, but it's more just about trying to run, have some ideas and try and bounce things off people, because we have a unique support, a support community in Cornwall, which is why I absolutely love being here and working with everyone here, really, because it's a unique support network.
Yeah, I think you're absolutely right. Creating that network and being not afraid to ask for help, because sometimes people could see asking for help as a
Yeah.
negative. In actual fact, it's not. It's very empowering if you've got the ability to be vulnerable enough to say, "I need some help." And I find that that goes back to that collaboration piece we were talking about earlier. That
Yeah.
collaborating, people have great ideas and can say, "Well, maybe not do it like that, but try this."
Yeah, exactly. And it's also about, I mean, I've learned a lot myself. I've had to, really, really reflect on because I used to be that. I used to be very much a sort of very quite a proud person, not wanting to admit that I didn't know or wasn't able to do something. But I think it's about that breaking, being self-aware and being a little bit more open to seeing how other people perceive or other people's perspectives, because and learning and listening is key to your own personal development, I think. And growth isn't always about bigger, better, but bigger, better, brighter. Growth is very much can be very much an internal personal development, and understanding more about how more about the world, but also more about how your how people perceive you and how you can adapt in different situations.
Absolutely right. Listen, Nadia, I'm so grateful to you for your time today. Thank you for supporting
Very
Cornwall Women's
welcome.
Fund. Shall we just finish with this little
My
image
pleasure.
of, I don't know if we can actually do it really. Yeah, we just try and set up a little bit. But this is the theme for International Women's Day 2026, Give to Gain, and thank you ever so much.
You're very welcome.